Welcome, fans, to the 95th episode of Changeover Chat presented by Sportmaster Sports Surfaces. I'm your host, Randy Master. Today's guest is a former professional tennis player who reached a high of number 4 in the world and was the number 1 ranked American in 2006. In his time on tour, he recorded wins over the likes of Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Andre Agassi, Leighton Hewitt, Tommy Haas, and so many others. In 2005, he was awarded the Comeback Player of the Year award, and in 2008 was honored with the Arthur Ashe Humanitarian Award by the ATP Tour. He is the author of 2 books, Breaking Back, How I Lost Everything and Won My Life Back, and also Days of Grace. I've read them both multiple times. I might read another one tonight. He played his college tennis at Harvard, which is an Ivy League school in Cambridge, Mass, if anyone wasn't aware of that. He was born in Yonkers and is a native of Fairfield, Connecticut, where another resident of Fairfield, Connecticut is none other than myself. This is Fairfield, Connecticut right here. James knows it well. He is currently the tournament director of the Miami Open, where he joined us today from Hard Rock Stadium, making his second appearance on Changeover Chat. Please welcome James Blake.
Hi, how's it going?
It's good. I know you're running on fumes, or at least you're going to be running on fumes
later
in the week. But in the intro, James, I talked about some of the prestigious awards you've won over the course of your career, very well deserved. Recently, you were honored with another award. It was the Medal of Kindness by Kindness Wins. It's a 501c3 headed up by your friend Madison Keys. Now, she spoke of your fervent support of cancer research since 2008, your outspoken encouragement for equality and commitment to tennis. Now, I was thinking about Kindness Wins this morning and yesterday, James. It's really such a great cause, if you think about it, in today's world, because there really are, how can I say it? There are a lot of assholes in this world. Go ahead.
And it makes me proud of what Madison's doing. She's such a positive person, and I think she's been in this world where there's so much negativity. I don't know how a lot of these players deal with it with the social media these days. Every single match, you're hard enough on yourselves generally, and then you've got to go back to your phone or your device, and you got a million people telling you how bad you are and how bad you just played, and that you should retire and quit the game and all. And I think she just wanted to do something positive to show that there are a lot of positive people in this world. And it's a great initiative. And I told her that for her to be in this world where it does affect her to have that negative talk, and it affects so many people negatively, that she's trying to show and showcase efforts of positive energy, of people trying to lift each other up and try to reinforce everyone and make people feel good about themselves. I think that's great that she's doing that and using her voice for something that's going to hopefully make a positive difference in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, and you are definitely the prototypical kindness advocate, James. Just coming on my show twice. I mean, that's pretty kind. There aren't a lot of people that'll do that. So one big kindness initiative that's been a staple down at the Miami Open is Miami Open Unites, which is that day where all of the players, a lot of the top players, go out into the community, into the Miami-Dade community, really make a difference in people's lives, whether they're going to humane societies or they're going out like Francis and hitting balls with underprivileged kids. I saw a lot of the video. I saw Mateo with the dogs, and you see sides of them that you don't see a lot, and they're smiling. You can tell, James, it's very important, not only to the people that they affect, but it's important to the players as well. They take this very seriously.
Yeah, and it's one of the initiatives I'm most proud of. There's a couple things that I really feel good about with Miami Open. I mean, we're not just a tennis event. We've got the best players in the world. We've got a great product on the court, but that Miami Open unites. It gives people a chance to give back, and also generally something that they feel good about, because we've got such a great variety. We've got ways to clothe the homeless. We've got ways to build houses, like a Habitat for Humanity type situation. We're doing some gardening that's helping brighten areas. We're doing where it was the Humane Society, dog rescues. We're teaching kids that big brothers, big sisters. We're doing so many things that people can kind of pick and choose where their heart is. We're cleaning up oceans. We're doing things like that. So to have these players kind of pick and choose and what means the most to them, and then they can really get passionate about it. It's something that's exciting for me, and it's always right. It's before the event, so these bigger name players can still participate. It's not in the middle of their match schedule, which so many tournaments it's packed in. They really don't have the chance to do anything like this where they're going to have the opportunity to give back. And so I'm thrilled to be a part of it. I went and helped with the Big Brothers Big Sisters one this year, where Andy Murray and Francis Tiafoe and Jessie Pagula and Sonia Mirza were hitting with the kids. And I'm too old to hit with the kids, but I can just stand around and talk and hopefully have a good conversation with the kids and talk to them about hard work and dedication and taking advantage of opportunities and things like that. So it means a lot to me, that event and the Out at the Open to support the LGBT community. Those are the two that I'm probably the most proud of when it comes to this tournament, is that we want to set ourselves apart from just being another tennis tournament. We're a global event that can actually hopefully make a difference because we've got such a far-reaching audience.
Okay, so James, we had your friend Blair Henley in TennisONE when she was out at Indian Wells, and she came on a show live, not Changeover Chat, but she came on live in the app one day. Now, she had a big smile on her face. It was the morning, the day was getting ready to start, and she said, you know what? This is the first tournament since the pandemic that I've been to, and she'd been to a lot of tournaments during the pandemic that were still being played with less fans and, you know, different mandates in place. And she said, you know what? This is the first time where everything has felt almost 100% normal. Now, do you feel the same way in Miami? I'm watching it on TV, and it looks like it's buzzing and things are back to where they used to be. Do you feel that in Miami?
Yeah, I do. I feel that, you know, we're in terms of ticket sales, we're back to 2019 and actually surpassing 2019 levels. I think this time I'm biased, but I think it's even better because I think so many people are appreciating and enjoying the plaza because, like you said, there hasn't been that sense of normalcy. So they're out in the plaza getting food at the food court, getting drinks at the bars. We've got a few really nice bar areas where the casual fan can just sit, have a drink, enjoy, get some good food, and watch the TV on the big screen and not even come into the stadium. I think we're having a lot of people doing that because every time I go outside and just walk the grounds, it is absolutely crowded. And the fans, they tell me that they're loving it. They're just loving being outside and around there. So I think that does feel normal, that you're out in the open, you could be on a date, you could be with your buddies, you could be with your tennis team or whatever, and you're just having a great time and not thinking about how tough the last couple of years have been.
Yeah, well, I had your colleague Josh Ripple, another potential future recipient, I think, of the Medal of Kindness. Such a good guy. I know you guys work well together. You know, he took me through, and I had spoken to Lou Scher about this as well at the U.S. Open. He took me through how you create that festival atmosphere. So when somebody walks in the gates, it doesn't matter if, you know, they're the author of the Tennis Abstract website, where the absolute tennis freaks, somebody like me who's a big freak, or it's somebody that had never even been to a tennis match. You have something for everybody. Now, do you even need to be a tennis fan to have a good time at the Miami Open? My guess is not.
No, I don't think you do, and I think that's what's possibly unique about this this tournament, is that it's an event. It's not just a tournament. And so, and I remember, I think the first time we came here in 2019, I said I would love for this to be something where young couple meets, then they, their first date, their second date or whatever, let's go here. And neither one of them is really a big tennis fan. It's just because they're thinking of something they can do that's an event that they can participate in together, and they can sit up at Kiki's, have a drink, they can see the tennis on the big screen. But if they're not that interested in it and they're just talking and chatting, you got music, you got great food, you got cultural stuff, you got the artwork that's there, and retail, you can go, do a little shopping. It's really an event that doesn't necessarily only have to be about tennis. But then you do have the diehards that are in there, that are in stadium from first ball to the last, that are watching it and loving it. And so I think you've got the best of both worlds, and we've kind of curated that on purpose. And I'm sure Josh said something similar about the way he wanted to make it that festival atmosphere. And maybe that's why we work together, is we think similarly in a lot of those aspects.
So another guy, James, that thinks like you do is your buddy Tommy Haas, the tournament director at Indian Wells. Now, another very kind guy. Tommy came on my show, and again, it's kind if you just come on Changeover Chat. But James, he was so nice. I had the best time speaking with him. Now, late in the show, in a supremely confident way, Tommy said, and I asked him, he said that the BNP Paribas Open was without a doubt the fifth slam. And I quote Tommy, James knows what the fifth slam is, and you're talking to the guy in Indian Wells that has the fifth slam. Now, and he said it a little tongue in cheek, but I think he was probably serious. So is this really a bitter rivalry, or is it a friendly one? Is it in between? Do you care if you're the fifth slam, or does he, or?
Well, no, it's not. It's definitely not a bitter rivalry. It's Tommy is he is a great friend. He is very kind, and he's funny. He's funnier than I think a lot of people give him credit for. But no, I've always said we're not competing with Indian Wells. We happen to be right next to it in the schedule. But for me, as well as like creating this festival atmosphere, we want what's best for tennis. And I think creating this festival atmosphere makes for more tennis fans. The casual tennis fans can turn into diehards. The casual tennis fans can enjoy it and be here and see it, even if it's just once a year. But I think that's better for the game, for the sport. So I'm not trying to one up Tommy and Larry Ellison. We're just trying to do the best we can and showcase the culture of Miami, showcase the fans, let them have a great time, and have the best tennis we possibly can at this event. So it's not a rivalry. We want the sport of tennis to be the winner. And if there is any sort of friendly competition between us, the end result, it could be that it's good for the game, good for the sport, good for the players, and good for the fans. But no, I've definitely never tried to just create any sort of a rivalry between Tommy and I. We had plenty of rivalry battles when we were on the court, and I think he got the best of me in the last couple. So I'll leave those on the court and not worry too much about them.
Yeah, and we talked about one of them. I'm not going to bring him up because the interview would probably end right here. It was the match of the 2007 U.S. Open. James, it was a classic. I don't like bringing up matches that. Yeah,
that one stung a little bit, but Tommy likes to remind me of that one. I remind him that I got him the first few times that he was living in Memphis. But yeah, that one at the U.S. Open, that one stung a little. That was a big match, and he earned it though. He played so well in that fourth and fifth set.
Yeah, and he recalled every single point of that match. I think that classic point towards the end when you came in twice. I'm not going to bring it up, James. But he was it's like James charged the net. He got a little bit too close to the net. And I saw that opportunity to flick that little lob. Yeah. James, you're going to kill me. You're going to kill me after this.
It was a tough one. He played really well. He deserved it.
So anyway, you have a long history with Tommy, but you are also great friends. You're great tournament directors. Now, I want to bring up one thing, James, that's been happening on the court, and that's all of these incidents that just seem one after the other. On the court, racket throwing. There was Zverev. That wasn't a throw. That was an attack on an umpire. Yeah. You had Nick down in Indian Wells. Yep. So you had Zverev in Mexico, Nick in Indian Wells, and then young Jensen Brooksby there in Miami. Now, I had Chris Clary on my show maybe 2 weeks ago to talk about this. And this was actually before Nick and before Jensen. It was just after Zverev. And he was just absolutely beside himself. And we all respect Chris Clary and his opinion, even though you might not agree with him. Just that the ATP, hasn't handled this in a more decisive way. Like you're not put on probation, Zverev. You're gone. You're suspended. Same thing with Nick. Same thing with Jensen. Maybe just a default right there on the court. Now, it's a large topic. We don't have time to sit and go back and forth. But do you think the ATP is doing enough to discipline these players? Because these are serious incidents where people can get hurt and have gotten hurt.
Yeah. So You know, as a tournament director, I don't have any say in the discipline. That's the ATP, so I have no role in it. But yes, if you want my 2 cents, they haven't gone far enough. They have not done enough because, and it's not to take anything away from, look, I like Sasha Zverev as a person. I like Nick Kyrgios as a person. I like Jenson Brooksby as a person. I actually told the ATP this week, I said, hey, you know, just sitting down having a conversation, I said, if you guys want my 2 cents, every one of them should have been suspended. And I think you go down a slippery slope of, if you don't suspend the first one, you don't suspend Sasha Zverev, then Nick does that. If you suspend him, you say, well, wait a minute, that's not the same, and it's not as dangerous as what Sasha did. And then same with Jenson Brooksby, like, well, where do you draw the line? So now it seems like it's just could get worse and worse, and it's going to have to take something so extreme to suspend someone now that I think they've painted themselves into a tough corner. Because, and I joke that, hey, my kids call me the strict one. I'm way too strict. I'm Mr. No. I say no. I'm a product of my dad being a disciplinarian. Is that, you know, if you do something wrong, even if you're a good person, you just made a mistake, you face some consequences, and some consequences that are actually meaningful. I know the fines are there. I also said the fines are the same as they were when I was on tour, and I was on tour 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and the fines are the same, and the prize money has gone up threefold at least. So I think those need to be adjusted as well, because if you're getting fined $10,000 when first round prize money at the U.S. Open is $20,000, you know, that means something. But when first round prize money now is close to $100,000 and you're still getting fined $10,000, it's a big difference. So I think, you know, those fines can be adjusted so that it is actually meaningful. And I think also there should be suspensions when it comes to possibly making someone scared, making someone nervous, or endangering someone. I think that's when a suspension comes in. But the way they explain the rule to me is that if you intent has a factor in it. If you intend to harm someone, no matter what, then you're going to get suspended or you're going to get defaulted. Or if you do something that does actually result in bodily harm. And they use the example of Novak when he hit that the line person, and it actually did. She fell down. It hurt her. There was bodily harm. It's an automatic default. And when Jenson Brooksby did it, there was no real harm. Even though it did hit the ball person, it didn't really do any harm. He picked up the racket. It was no big deal, according to them. So there's no harm done, and there was no intent to harm. So it's not an automatic default. That's where it comes into the discretion of the umpire.
Okay. Well, let's get to some playing on the court, which has been phenomenal this week. And I was looking at the lineup for today, the order of play. Just to name a few. I mean, if you're not getting the popcorn cooking, you know, just throw it in the microwave right now. Zverev, Kokkinakis. This isn't even all the matches. Medvedev, Brooksby, Danielle Collins, Osaka, Fritz. Over on the grandstand, not even on the show court. Somehow Kyrgios and Sinner are over there because there's so much good stuff on Stadium 1. Hurkacz, who's the defending champion, is playing. Francis is in. Tsitsipas and Alcaraz. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Tonight?
Pretty amazing.
Anyway, you got to like what's going on out on the court, James. And one thing I wanted to mention is I don't even care personally that Fed, I'd love to see Fed there, Novak or Rafa or Serena or Venus. But you look at this, do you even care?
Yeah, I mean, well, of course, we'd love to have our greatest champions here, but without them, we still have unbelievable tennis, which is what we've been highlighting all the time, is that even without some of the biggest names, we've got the best tennis in the world. And we've got Tsitsipas Alcaraz on grandstand. That match could be a Grand Slam final even this year, as early as this year, maybe next year. And that's on our grandstand because we've got so much great tennis. Today's the one day, because we're a 10-day event. We have one day. Yesterday it was for us where all the women play. Today is the day that all the men play. So half the draw played yesterday and today. The other half plays today and tomorrow. So this is if you're a men's tennis fan, if you're an ATP fan, this is the day to be here. It's unbelievable to see everyone compete. And we've got such great. That's why our grandstand is packed. Is because all the ATP matches are out there and it's unbelievable. And we've got the women's quarterfinals with Osaka. And Danielle Collins as well. So we just have half the draw on the women's side, but the whole draw on the men's side. And you're right, it's unbelievable tennis. Sinner just saved match points in his last match. He's a finalist from last year, playing Kyrgios, who's been on fire in this event. He's been rolling through top players. It's impressive. So, we're going to see some great tennis again today.
Yeah, and some other great tennis. You talk about Danielle Collins. She was a two-time NCAA champion at UVA. Now, staying on that college front, you're going to have a match there this weekend or Friday. It's going to be University of Miami versus Columbia, two top 50 teams. Miami is way up there.
Yeah.
What brought college tennis to Hard Rock Stadium? It's got to be special for you as an ex-college tennis player.
Yeah, it's really special because we thought about what we can do with this facility. This facility is beautiful, and we use these courts are only really used one time throughout the year. So when we got these 2 weeks, the second week, most of the players are gone, so the practice courts aren't really used that much. So we thought of what we can do, how we can better use this space, and we want to support tennis in every aspect. And junior tennis, college tennis, all of that is important to get to the pro game. And so you're right, it's special to me that we can put a college match on this facility and get that kind of atmosphere. I love the college dual match atmosphere where you win a point and you're yelling down to your number 6 player, and the 6 players yelling to the number 1 player, and you got that atmosphere of just a great fraternity basically of teammates. And so we're going to have that for the first time this year. I hope it's something we continue as a tradition where we make it every year. Maybe one of these years we'll get Harvard to play down here. We already got Columbia, so we got an Ivy League school. It's relatively close, but next year I'd love to have Harvard down here and playing against Miami, and I might have to be biased and go out and get out my Harvard gear and start cheering. But it's going to be fun, and I'm going to hopefully get a chance to catch up with both teams, talk to them about life on tour, talk to them about what their college experience has been like, and just try to have fun and enjoy this atmosphere.
Yeah, that's great to hear, because TennisONE is also a big supporter of college tennis. I don't know if you know this, but the entire NCAA Division I men's and women's championships are going to be streamed live in the TennisONE app this year, round of 64 on. So you have a great partner there, TennisONE, official app of the Miami Open, and also the NCAA championships, two events near and dear to you, James.
Yeah, I'll have to be watching it plenty on that app when the NCAAs comes around. That was one of my favorite events. It was so much fun to be a part of. I got to experience it twice at the University of Georgia, and that was crazy. That got me ready for any Davis Cup atmosphere I could face when I faced those Georgia Bulldogs and 3,500 strongs barking at me.
Yeah. Well, finally, I know you got to go. Just sticking quickly on the NCAA front. So last night, right up the road in Bridgeport, Connecticut, the UConn Huskies took out NC State in an absolute battle, 2 overtimes. You think Gino can take them back to the promised land?
I've learned probably the hard way, being a tennis commentator as well. I don't make a living betting against Serena. I don't make a living betting against Roger. I'm not betting against Gino either. He's gotten it done so many times. Paige Becker's incredible talent. He seems to keep reloading with unbelievable players. So I know now that he's got the experience. I think it was Coach K that talked about you're in 3 tournaments. You start in the tournament, then you've got the second weekend is another one, and then the Final Four. And just the experience of being there so many times, I got to believe Gino knows how to navigate through that third tournament, and that possibly most important one, the important part of the end of the NCAA championship. So I'm not betting against Gino.
Yeah, well, will you bet against Coach K? Look at the men's side. I mean, are you kidding me, James? Duke, Carolina. I don't have to tell you. You're as much of a fan as me. Duke, Carolina. Could you have written this thing any better?
And growing up as a kid, I grew up in Connecticut, so I was a UConn fan, but I was also the biggest Michael Jordan fan ever. So I love North Carolina. So it's tough because I've always been a North Carolina fan, but for the sort of historian in me and the fan of just history of Coach K going out on top would be such a storybook way to go. But as a North Carolina fan, that kind of hurts me a little bit to even say or think that I'd be cheering for Duke over North Carolina. So that's gonna be a tough one to watch. But whoever gets through, I'll say this: whoever gets through that one, I want them cutting down the nets at the end.
Yeah, well, Kansas Villanova, just for our fans, on the other side. So James, thanks so much. I know you got to go. Thanks for your support of the TennisONE app. We love being a partner of the Miami Open, and we're having a blast down there, and you're treating our team. Your team is treating our team with great, let's finish this, with great kindness.
Oh, thank you, Randy. I appreciate it.